All right, guys. So today we're going over supply and demand. Last class we went over support and resistance. So next is supply and demand. So basically, supply and demand is pretty much the same thing as support and resistance. Don't complicate it, guys. The only difference is with support and resistance is pretty much just like a single price point versus supply and demand is basically like a zone, right? So that means, Tesla resistance might be at 720, but their supply zone might be from 720 to 725 or 730 or you and so on. So that's all that the main difference is. So some key characteristics for you guys that I wanted you guys to put down. I could have wrote this down, but I'm gonna let you guys do it. Some key characteristics to identify supply and demand zones is you're looking for a balanced period and then an imbalance. So put this in your notes: balanced and imbalance. And we're going to get more into detail on what that is in a few minutes, but just put this in your notes. When identifying supply and demand, we're looking for a balanced period, then a imbalance period. So we're going to be trading when we trade supply and demand, we don't trade the balance period, we trade the imbalance periods, right? So we're going to get into that. So let's start off with pretty much let's go to basically today. So let's go from the start of my day, right? So when we're looking at the S&P 500, right, I'm looking at /ES. Now, actually, we should go on Trading View to give y'all a better view. It's all right. We can stay on here. So I'm about to clear all my lines out real quick. We're going to have a clean chart to kind of tell you like my thought process for today. Okay, so right off the bat, right, I had already had this supply zone. So supply is basically the resistance, right? So whenever you're looking for a supply zone, guys, you want to look for a balanced period. As long as you remember the characteristics, you will be fine, right? So the first point that I'm looking at, and it's going to take practice, guys. None of this happens overnight. But when we're looking at right here, we're looking for a balanced period, and then we're looking for an imbalance. So a balanced period is when price is basically staying at a certain area. So right here, we can kind of agree that, price kind of been, there hasn't been really much trading opportunity here. Price been pretty much trading in between this zone for a minute now, right? For in this particular setup, right? The price has been trading in this pretty much this zone for a minute, right? So that is what I call a balanced period, where price is trading in between just, right? It ain't perfect. We had some times where, it came up above this area, it came up again. So let's say that we would have just had a regular resistance right here, right? So this will be a regular resistance area, right? But as you can see right here, it came above right here, it came above right here, it came above, right? So it's pretty hard to say like, oh, that particular resistance area, right? So we just draw a zone, right? Price, so I don't lose nobody. Make sure that y'all stay with me. Don't get confused here. You just see right here that we're just trading in this zone. Remember when I tell you guys, don't be trading in balanced periods? This is exactly what I mean. So we have that balanced period. Now, how do I know that that's a supply zone? Well, remember what I said. To identify a supply zone or any type of zone, you want to see an imbalance move. So we had that balance period, and then we had this long impulsive move, right? That is a imbalance, right? So that's where I'm going to draw, right? Before the imbalance happened, you're going to draw that as your zone, right? Now, I know I'm about to have some people ask, what about that wick and stuff at the top? So what you do is you drag it all the way over so that it might come to that zone in the future, right? So we're going to draw it. We're just going to bring it over as far as over as you can have it, right? So as you can see, we had a move up. Now, for the people that's going to be like, well, Jay, it had a move up or whatever. Guys, look, now, when you're first getting started drawing supply and demand zones, this one is a little more complicated, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, with that move happening, a lot of traders probably want to see that zone, but over time you will learn it. But basically what this was what we call a liquidity grab, right? So a liquidity grab is basically what we call known as a fake out. So sometimes what happens is what the market would do is a lot of traders are breakout traders. I told you guys this before. So what they would do is they will have the breakout traders, buy above the breakout, right? And then they will pull it back down and tank it on them, right? So that's what we call a liquidity grab. So just put it in simple terms, a fake out, right? So you will have that. Price will never, be perfect. So if you're looking for a perfect zone, you want to have got a perfect zone. Now, my people are going to ask me, hey Jay, where do you start the zone from? Now, honestly, guys, you can look it up, if you don't believe me, there's no right or wrong way or like to say like where to start the zone from as far as candles goes. I mean, make it realistic. So for me, I will probably draw it like to like make a nice zone. I'll probably do something like this, right? Connecting those tops right there. That's probably what I would do. But it ain't no right or wrong. Just draw the zone, right? Don't even complicate it. That was my problem when I started drawing supply and demand. I will complicate it, trying to see like, oh, if I make the zone, let me just show you an example. Let's say that you tried to connect the zone from here to here, right? Let's go from there to that low. Hold on, let me draw that low real quick. And I'm about to make sense in a minute, guys. Stick with me. But sometimes I'm gonna get it because I know I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have a lot of traders do this. They're gonna try to connect like pretty much the whole entire price action. And the reason why this doesn't work is simply because it's too big of a zone, right? So when I'm saying make your zones, guys, just be realistic. You know what I mean? Just be realistic, right? Let's just bring it down, bring a tighter zone, just bring it to where it looked like it'll make the most sense set. And there you go, right? You have your zone. So how do you trade off of this? Well, the goal of a zone is we can bring that down just a little bit more to touch the bottom of those candles right here, just get yourself some room, right? So the goal of this zone is to basically, once you have that imbalance, remember, you're not going to be able to predict this. I mean, you probably could if you want to, but the way how you trade supply and demand is you're not going to ever catch the first move, right? You're not going to catch this. Right, you're not going to catch this because the only way for you to identify that this was a zone, and I'm gonna show y'all a better zone in a minute, but this is just one of the major ones that we use, right? So the point is you're not going to catch this first move because keyword what I said earlier, I said that we have to have a balanced period, then an imbalanced period to even identify this zone. So where do your trading opportunity comes from? Your trading opportunity comes from when it comes back to this zone, right? So when it came back to this zone, it touched this zone, and what did it do? It sold off, right? That's what it did. It sold off from that zone. That is where your trading opportunity comes in at. So as we get to this zone, we start looking puts, right? And as long as it holds this zone, then we start taking our puts. Now, obviously, that wasn't, an easy move down, very choppy on the way down. But overall, it is what it is. It touched the zone. There we go. So now let's get into the actual trade that we took today. So using the things that we just taught, right? We're looking for a balance period, then an imbalance period. Let's go here, right? So let's go over today. So now this zone was a little harder to identify, guys. It'll come with experience, but basically I just see this huge sell-off right here. Like I said, it wasn't pretty. So pretty much I'm making a zone in this area, right? And I'm just gonna like I'm telling y'all right now, I'm just drawing it, right? And then I'm bringing it over. So actually, I had this zoned up because I don't want y'all thinking like I just drew this zone just to draw it. I've been saying this zone since this morning, right? So let me try to make this zone make sense in a couple candles. Hold on. It's kind of like trying to get the best of the best. And it takes practice, guys. Like I said, I still be missing zones sometimes. So right here, this is kind of was a balance period before it sold off. If you want to put it like that, right, you can put it like that. Or, you want at least 3 candles to make it a zone, especially on the hourly time frame. If you wanted to make a huge zone right here, this morning, I pretty much just set a chop zone, right? But overall, like there's no right or wrong. I'm not about to sit up for a lot of you guys. There's no right or wrong way to do it. So pretty much, let me just tell you exactly how this trade went, right? So pretty much, we pretty much gapped up and we gapped up into this area. I just called it the chop area for that moment, but pretty much we gapped up into this supply zone, right? We had a balance period where price pretty much stayed in this area. So then we had a sell-off. So when we got back to that area, there's no guarantee that we were going to sell off from this area. but I was already in calls. So once we hit this level, I was able to, like, I sold my calls because I'm like, well, I would just wait to see what we do in this zone, right? And what happened was we got into this zone and then we ended up selling off this zone. Is it making sense so far? I'm opening up the chat real quick. Actually, no, I'm not gonna open chat. Just let me know in the main chat. Is it making sense so far? Just so I don't lose nobody. I'm gonna show y'all more examples. Okay, cool. So some people saying it's making sense. Some people saying, probably not. But overall, guys, stay with me. Don't complicate it. We're just looking for a balanced period. We all can agree right here. It wasn't the prettiest because price action hasn't been the prettiest. But overall, guys, look at it. It's pretty much just stayed in this area, right? Can anybody tell me, can you trade in this area right here? Is this an area that you trade? No, this is not an area that you trade. If you say, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But look, we can't make a trade in this area. Why? Because it's pretty much chopping. It's pretty much staying in this zone. So we pretty much can count the zone. So what happened was, the market had been sending, the market had been doing what it had to do. We got back to this zone. So everybody's still thinking calls because we didn't have this huge run up. But whole time, I'm like, well, I'm going to just wait. Like, I literally didn't signal nothing else after we sold our calls, right? Because I was waiting to see what we do in this zone. I'm not trying to guess the zone. I'm not trying to predict what we're going to do in the zone. No, I'm going to just stay while we're in this zone. I'm going to just stay in this. I'm going to watch this zone and see what happens. A lot of the times, and I'm going to get y'all, this is from experience, guys. With trading, I learned this from trial and error, guys. A lot of the times, a lot of the times, guys, what will happen is, and this happens so often, they will have some type of bullish pattern in a supply zone. And that is a sign of a fake out, right? Because a lot of traders don't know supply and demand. So what they would do is, if we really look deep into this, let's go to a lower time frame in this zone, guys. Let's go to a lower time frame, right? So I actually had, like, people were, no, this is like, if you go in the chat, right? I had people say this, right? Look, what is this, guys? What was this? Before it broke down, what was this? Let me know in the chat, because I want to show y'all something real quick. The reason why I'm saying this, what is this? I know we haven't went over chart patterns yet, but what is it? It's not a password for the Zoom, guys. Bull flag, right? And this is why I'm telling you where experience comes in. A lot of the times, their market does this. They will put a bullish pattern in a supply zone. So what happens is, if people that don't know supply and demand, they're going to be trying to buy this bull flag because they're going to still be buying calls, and that's how they get you every single time. It always happens. Like, you can go back after for your homework, you're going to be making supply and demand zones. I guarantee you a lot of you guys are going to see chart patterns in these supply zones. And then you're going to like, at that time, you're going to be wondering why the calls didn't work. The calls didn't work because it was in a supply zone. So you see how they got you, right? They had an impulse to move up, correction. That's making you think like, all right, guys, well, we're bull flagging. If you only know support and resistance and not zones, you'll be, all right, we bull flagging we sold off from resistance, we bull flagging. Now the next move is up, right? The next move will be this, right? This happens too many times because people don't know supply and demand zones, right? So that's why I want you guys to understand this and take them serious, because this happens a lot. This literally has been one of my best trading strategies, is identifying supply and demand. So a lot of the times what happens is we will have a nice bull run, and then before the market open or while the market open, we will gap right up into a supply zone, right? We will get right up into a supply zone. People still trying to go long, still trying to buy calls, just to have a move like this happen on them, or just chop around in the supply zone. So that's why it's important. If you don't want to take supply zone serious, that is exactly how I took this trade today. But I'm going to get more into detail using the demand zone, right? So hopefully that made sense on supply. It's pretty much the same thing. Now let's go to VIX. So let me show you how I actually caught the trade today using supply and demand. So okay. So this is how I caught the trade using supply and demand, guys. So if you all know, if you don't know, it's cool, I'm gonna teach you, but I use the VIX, right? So sometimes when the market is sending, and I do this a lot, this is a quick gem for you guys. when the market is going strong in one direction, I will then come to the VIX to kind of see if there's any more context. Because if you're just looking at SPY, or you're just looking at, the thing that's going up, Facebook, whatever that's going up, if you're just looking at that, a lot of the times the move is going to be overextended, right? And what that means is it's just sending too hard, right? It's just going up, and just not looking back, right? So when that happens, it's really not nothing I can look at to say, okay, the market is coming down, or the market is going to reverse, or it's going to pull back. So when this happens, I go look at the VIX to see if I can have any type of, context that will tell me what's really going on, like what's the real picture. So that is exactly what I did, right? So I seen that the market, let's put them side by side, right? Let's go put them side by side real quick, guys. So we got SPY up. Let's go to SPY 1 hour. Okay. All right, so now that we are at SPY 1 hour, actually this demand zone looks this supply zone looks so much better on SPY, just to let y'all know right there. There it is. That's perfect. That's perfect. SPY ES made it look a little more choppier. We had this balance period. We're gonna come back to that, but there you go. It looks so much better on SPY. But overall, so look, this is the move that we're talking about, right? So we just had this huge move up. Guys, how am I going to make a trade if it's just sending up, right? How I'm gonna make a trade off based off of that, right? We're just sending up. I don't know if this is really a bull flag or whatever. I don't know. So what I did was I came to VIX, right? And the first thing I noticed was we had this impulsive move up, right? So I'm looking at the balance period before that impulsive move up, and there you go. Here go my demand zone. How did I know that this demand zone wasn't invalidated? Well, simply because, guys, remember what I said, we have these things called liquidity grabs, right? This is what that was. Now, do I know 100% that was a liquidity grab? No, but I took the trade this day. So it had already came back up in this zone the previous day. So this was Friday when the VIX broke this zone, and then it reclaimed this zone in pre-market. So that told me right there that this was potentially a liquidity grab, right? This was a fake out. This area right here was a fake out. So what happened was I seen that VIX reclaimed this zone. So that means the zone was still valid. Then we have our regular support and resistance level, VIX right here as support. So in my mind as a trader, I'm looking at this, right? I'm looking at this. I'm like, all right, bet. VIX was a liquidity grab. Normally what happens is it bounces up, right? VIX claimed liquidity grab down, broke back up into the zone, held support. There you go. It was holding support. And I literally right here, guys, I took this trade on this candle, right? Once I established that it was holding support and it came back and reclaimed this zone, I took the trade. Now, I'm not trading VIX. If VIX is going up, SPY is going down. So now let's add the context, right? We didn't have context at first because the stock was only going up. So now this is exactly how I'm looking at this trade. Okay, VIX is in a demand zone. I even said this I'm gonna send y'all because I don't want nobody thinking that I cap. I even said this in the chat. I was like, hey, VIX has a bullish engulfing as support. I literally said this to Sean and Isaac and them. I said, hey, VIX has a bullish engulfing. If we looking at candlesticks, you're going to learn this in a minute. I mean, well, not today, but this is a bullish engulfing, right? At support, demand zone. I mean, how many more confirmations do you need? You know what I mean? How many more confirmations do we need, people? How many more confirmations do you need, right? We have a bullish engulfing. We had a liquidity grab, reclaimed the zone. Now we're at support. I mean, what else do you need? What else do you need, right? Then let's add it on to the rest of the trade. So we got VIX is at demand. Like I said, liquidity grab, it reclaimed. Now it's at support, bullish engulfing. Then what is SPY at? SPY is at a supply zone, right? So then as I'm taking VIX trade, SPY is now breaking. As I'm taking the VIX trade, this is the third candle. Hold on. I took this about right here around this candle somewhere. I took it on the lower time frame, but I'm just trying to show you like the third candle. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, about the third, fourth candle around here, you know. So how much more confirmation do you need? VIX holding support, VIX goes up, SPY go down. So what am I doing? I'm looking at SPY. I'm like, all right, bet it's coming down. I want to take this trade. So I'm taking a trade using supply and demand zones. Now, if you want to add patterns to come with it, let's go add some patterns real quick, right? Because I did use a pattern for this. So we had this nice symmetrical triangle, right? This is the pattern that I use. We had a symmetrical triangle at supply zone with VIX at support. We know that a symmetrical triangle is a bilateral pattern. So it can either go up or it can break down, right? So if we're using the context, right, we have VIX at demand, at support. We look like we're about to bounce. Then we have a SPY at supply zone with a symmetrical triangle. There you go. What else do you need? That's why I be telling people, take the damn trade. I mean, that's literally what I did. Take the damn trade. There's literally none else that you need, guys. Take the damn trade. Here you go. It hit your levels. There you go. 1,000% return. Or it is like really, the contracts went from $160 to what was it? $160 to almost $3,000, right? So it was actually more than 1,000%. Obviously, I didn't catch the whole move. Actually, I took this trade numerous times today. So I took the breakdown, and then what happened was I ended up watching my P&L a little bit. You know, I will transparency right there. I did end up watching my P&L. I was in pretty heavy. So what happened was when we started wicking back up, even though it never broke above, we started wicking back up. Even though it never broke above, I was watching my P&L. So I ended up selling the trade for a small profit. I think the first trade that I took on this, I ended up making like $1,200. So then I ended up getting back in this trade because it came back kind of to like where I entered at. I entered at 160, and then the premiums came back to 175, and I entered again. And then that time I had made, I think like 6-7 grand. And then I'm like, okay, well, we have a lot more downside, right? Because VIX was like looking up, it was pushing up. So I'm like, all right, bet. So after I did that, I got back in, and then I basically had like a stop loss and profit, you know, in a way that I'm gonna show you guys how to do it the way I do it, as far as like re-entering plays, we using with profits. But pretty much I just basically caught this whole move. Like I was actually able to ride this move pretty much all the way down here. And then once we got this push up right here, that's when I started, I gave back a little bit of profit. But overall, I took about 3 to 4 trades here and was able to catch pretty much this entire move. I could have just held, but I was kind of P&L watching today, which was against my rules, but you know, it happens sometimes. But yeah, so that's how that trade went, using supply and demand. So now let's go look at some more examples of supply and demand, so you guys can kind of see where I'm coming from. What I like to do in class, I like to I don't like to make it make sense. I don't like to like have pre-zones already, you know, out. I like to kind of look for some new ones right with you. So right here, we can count this as a supply zone, right? Why? Because what do we have? We had a balanced period, right? We had a balanced period. Price was balanced in this area. We had a imbalance. So what happened is, I want you guys to see this. This literally right here, I did not see this zone before, right? We had a balanced period, imbalance. What happened when we came back to the zone, guys? We hit this zone. What is this? Liquidity grab, right? Liquidity grab. Then what do we do? Sold off so hard, right? Sold off so hard, right? Now, let's get into some actual, real quick before we move on. Let's get into some actual things as far as, because I know I'm gonna have the questions. You know, Jay, what time frame are zones on? So you can make zones on any time frame. The lowest time frame I will go is the 15-minute. You know, after below the 15-minute, it's pretty much just supporting resistance. But normally you want to, you know, see zones. You can have a 15-minute zone, you can have an hourly zone, you can have a 4-hour zone, you can have a daily zone, you can have a weekly zone. Guys, it doesn't matter what time frame that you see the zone on, right? It does not matter. As long as the 15 minutes, the lowest that I will go. The bigger zones are for mainly bigger time frames. Zones aren't for the smaller time frames. So you want to keep that in mind. As far as length of the zones, you know, you want at least 3 candles in the zone, then an imbalanced move, right? You want at least 3 candles. So that's that. Most of my zones, a lot of my zones come from the 15-minute. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. The 15-minute and the 1 hour is where a lot of my zones come from. The zones that pay a lot of money, they come from the 4 hour. I don't really see too many zones on the daily time frame, but that's pretty much that. You leave pre-market on because as you can see, this zone was respected in pre-market. So, if you want to leave pre-market on for that. But that's a lot of that's kind of what it is. Also, let me show y'all something real quick that helped me. And y'all going to learn this next class. But we also had a gap fill. That was more confirmation because I actually took it off this chart. This is the exact chart that I took the actual trade off of. So as you can see, we were bouncing. This is the exact time frame. I'm about to actually show y'all my whole setup, right? This was my entire setup for today, right? So I had, okay. So just to give y'all some context real quick. And yeah, this is the supply zone that we were talking about, this day supply zone. Let me see if I scroll over to give you a better. No, you can't see because of the gap. But this is that supply zone. We were talking about this balance period, then it broke down. But let me show you exactly how I took this trade. We go to XPX. I was using XPX 5-minute chart. I had the 5-minute. So this is exactly how my screens looked for today. So obviously I have my indicators and stuff up there, but we're talking about this trade was pretty much raw price action. So make sure y'all put this in y'all notes. So, all right. So we've seen this demand zone on the VIX, right? So we had this symmetrical triangle right here on XPX, and pretty much we had this gap below, right? We know that what happens is when a stock starts to get into a gap, it likes to fill those gaps, right? So I had that other confirmation on XPX. That's actually why I traded XPX, was because I was on XPX charts. So I entered right here. Let me slow down. So if y'all can see this over here, this is where I entered at. So once we broke out, I literally entered. I think I entered on this candle right here, this red candle. And this is the candle. Like once we broke down, I put a stop loss and then I ended up getting stopped out. That's where I was saying that my first trade on this, it was like a small profit. And then that's when I got back in and I rolled it down, right? So how did I stay in this trade longer though? Was I executed, right? I entered on the 5-minute. This was a pretty much, I ain't gonna lie, guys, this is supposed to be like a quick day trade scalp. It just happened to be longer. But overall, how did I hold longer? I entered on the 5-minute. I was monitoring it, but I also was paying attention to the 15-minute as well. And I had the VIX up as well. So that way it just helped me hold the trade a lot longer. And we will get into that, holding trades and stuff like that. But yes, if you're just trading one time frame, guys, you're doing it wrong, right? When you're in a trade, you want to have multiple time frames pulled up. You want to have your entry time frame, and you want to have a time frame that'll probably help you hold longer. And you want to have like some type of index or some type of, for in this case, I had the VIX because that was like my other confirmation. But like, let's say that I'm trading Tesla, I would probably have Tesla, 15-minute up and then the hourly up, and then I would have like SPY or NASDAQ ETF up, to help me, right? So if you're just using one chart, guys, you're doing it wrong. And this is why I get on people. Like, understand a lot of you guys are going to have to trade from your phone sometimes, but try your best to if you're going to be taking trades, especially day trades, try your best to be able to be in front of a screen that you can have multiple time frames pulled up, just because it gives you a lot cleaner trade, right? Versus with the phone, you not like a lot of the times you're watching your P&L, then you're trying to flip back and forth and chart. It's just not the same. You know what I mean? So and go from there. So trying to see. So let's see if we can find some more zones real quick. But that's why I wanted to show you guys. So let's go here. Okay. So let's find some more zones. All right, so here we go. Same thing. Like I'm telling you, it's like clockwork, right? Look at this. It's like clockwork. So we're looking for a balanced period. What do we have right here? We have a balanced period. So we're going to plot that balanced period. Come on, y'all. Come on, like it's like it's that simple. Like here we go. We had a balanced period, imbalanced move. So we're not going to catch this move, right? We're not going to catch this because we don't identify the zone until that move happened. So what happens is as soon as you retested that zone, Then we take our entries, right? Then we take our entries, guys. That is how you trade supply and demand. Let's look for another one. Okay. You can play around it a little bit. But if you can't find a clear balance period, so like, let's go, let me just look one more time, guys. If we look here, that was a clear balance period. Price was pretty much just, acting within this zone right here. So that gave me a clear one. Because I know a lot of you guys are going to try to like look for stuff that ain't clear, guys. If it ain't clear, don't take it. So we're coming here. You want things that stand out. You want to see like a real nice move to the downside. And if you don't see it, then don't trade it, right? You just go back to regular support and resistance. So like right now, I'm not seeing any new zones on Tesla. So this, let me see, this is one, maybe. Okay, so as you can see, this was, I tried to identify this one, right? And if you do, that's fine. Not every zone is going to be right. Not every zone is going to be perfect. But as you can see, I seen a balance period. This was kind of a little ugly, not gonna lie, I'm forcing this, but I'm just trying to show you guys like, good examples, bad examples. So this one, price was kind of all over the place. Like when I'm saying balance period, guys, I want this, right? I want it in tight. You feel me? Like, nice price action. That one was a little more like this. This is exactly what I just drew. So this was like this. And then it broke down. So that was kind of, you see how that, what I just drew right there, that's kind of what that was. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a balance period and then the imbalance move. And like I said, it's going to be practice, guys. This is supply and demand. It's a lot hard. This one is a little harder, but it's worth it. As you can see, we catch different opportunities that we didn't know was there. So we're just going around looking. If you can't see any, that's totally fine. Come to a different time frame. Maybe you can see some on a different time frame. Go from there. Let's see, do we see anything? I don't quite see anything. So I would just, say I don't see a supply and demand zone. So it's pretty much support and resistance. Let's see what BA had, right? And I'm gonna send y'all more examples and stuff like that. Okay, I found one on BA. So let's delete everything. Okay, so can we say that this is a supply zone? Yes, right? Why? Because we had a balance period. I would count that as a balance period, this entire period, if you want to, right? We call that a balance period, and you just drag it along for future references, right? So as you can see, we broke down. That was a nice breakdown. We came back, we rejected that zone, right? You could have got a trading opportunity from here to here. Anybody that's saying, hey, Jay, that's not a lot of money. Well, that is from 138 to 133. So pretty decent move. Not every zone is going to be as clean as that, right? And as you can see, it's a reason why I don't get off of class yet, guys. It's one more important part that I have to tell you guys before you get off of class. So as you can see, like I said, just go in here, play around with them. Just keep practicing them. They're not going to be as easy to start with. I struggled with them at first, but then after you practice it for so long, then you get better at it, and then it becomes clockwork after that. So let's see if we can find a different zone. So let's see. Okay. So we're looking for a balanced period. So right here, we kind of had an imbalanced period before that imbalanced move. So right now, look, so we had this balance period, imbalance move, and pretty much this potentially can be what? I want to see if y'all was listening. What can this be on Apple? What could this be, right? This was a supply zone. So what could this be right here? I want to see if anybody get it right. Liquidity grab, right? So Apple can potentially be in a liquidity grab right now. And also, I know you don't know candlesticks yet. Some of you guys don't. But what a candlestick pattern is this on Apple? The evening star. And I'm not going, I don't know. I might have to look at that. But this pattern right here is a bearish engulfing. Oh, I'll zoom in for people that can't see. What is this right here? For people that can't see, my bad. This is a bearish engulfing on Apple, right? So right now, I'm not saying that Apple gonna come down, but when we start using some context, we have a supply zone for Apple right now, and then we have a bearish engulfing. So do with what you want to do with it, right? So will we just trade Apple solely off of this, right? No, we want to wait for the zone to break down, guys. We don't want to trade in the zone. We want to wait for it to break down. So when Apple comes out of this zone, that's when we will take our trades. Now, obviously, this is the daily time frame. So on the smaller time frames, you might be able to catch something. But overall, that's what I'm looking for, right? We're looking for balance periods and then the imbalance move come back. And now we have that. So right now, Apple does look like this was a liquidity grab, right? What happens is we break out, get people to come long, which actually, a trader today, one of my old mentees got caught in this because they didn't understand what I taught them the last time. I literally taught them this. I'm like, hey, we know what happens at these zones. They have liquidity grabs. So what happened was they were in Apple trying to take the breakout. And what happened? It pulled right back on them, right back on them. So that's why I want you guys to understand. So for homework tonight, I want you to go in and practice drawing zones. Like I said, guys, it's not going to be easy starting off. You're going to feel like you're confused or whatever. Look, trust me, just keep looking at them, keep drawing them. You're going to get better at them. All it takes is repetition. Let's see if we can find some more zones real quick before I let you off. And then I'm gonna just be sending more because when it comes to this one, I thought this class is always a little harder to trade because with the price action we begin lately, it's been kind of hard identifying zones or whatever. But look, you're gonna have to suck it up and you're gonna have to do it, right? So let's see. I'm trying to find y'all. I'm trying to find y'all a good zone. We just haven't had any. We just haven't had any. So it's been hard. I'm trying to get y'all a good zone, though. Get y'all a good one. A lot of stocks are in the bearish engulfing right now. Tomorrow's going to be interesting with these earnings coming up. Okay, this is a good zone right here that hasn't happened yet. So here we go. We have a supply zone and SPY. Like this is actually very pretty. Like this is probably the prettiest zone that we're going to see for a minute. This is a clear balance period, guys. This is a clear balance period. Now, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm not telling you to do this, guys. I'm not telling you to do it. Look, listen to me again. I'm not telling you to do this, but this was actually a zone before it happened. We actually obviously like I said, to identify it, you need to have a balance period and then an imbalance move. So this particular trade, I actually signaled this, me and Isaac, we signaled this to the chat because we was consolidating right here. So as we broke down, we just signaled puts, right? And obviously, that's kind of risky because we kind of anticipated a supply zone. We didn't have no extra context, but obviously, when it comes to consolidation periods, an easy trade is just take the consolidation break, right? So this just happened. We just happened to say that this was a zone as well. So when it broke, we took it, or you could have said this was a zone, right? So now we still have this zone for future referencing. So right now, I'm going to leave this on my charts, right? It's no point in me deleting it off my charts because in the future, what happens is we can come back to this zone and then our trader opportunity presents. Now, lastly, before you get off of class, and I hope nobody got off yet because I wanted you to know this. Understand, guys, when stuff like this happens, the more it touches the zone, the weaker it gets, right? Because you have to understand, right? When moves like this happen, it was an imbalance period. So what that means is the sellers that were in this zone, not every seller got filled to take this move down. That is why zones work, right? Everybody didn't get filled when it broke down. So the reason why zones work is whenever it come back into that zone, what do you guys think that's going to happen when it come back into that zone? If all the sell orders didn't get filled here, when they come back into that zone, what do you think that's going to happen to the orders? So that I hope this help you understand supply and demand a little bit. What's going to happen? The rest of the orders are going to get filled, right? The rest of the orders are going to get filled, and then that's what caused it to sell off again. Same way for demand. I mean, a demand zone. When we have a demand zone, let's draw a demand zone right here. When we have a demand zone, what happens is we have a balance period, right? We have an imbalance move. Everybody didn't get filled out of this. Everybody didn't catch that move. They might have been out for vacation or something. Everybody didn't catch it. So what happens is those orders are left unfilled. So what happens is when they come back to that level, those orders get filled, and then that's what happens. That's what causes the zone to bounce, right? Same way. So you have to think like that. Now understand this though, so you can understand it. That's the reason why the more touches, can anybody, I want to see if you can do it without me saying it. So that means what happens is if it touches more, if it touches a lot of times, what that mean, guys? So the reason why it don't work if it touches multiple times, it's getting weaker. More orders are getting filled. So the zone is getting weaker. Exactly, right? So that is why the supply and demand zones, the more it touches, the weaker it gets, because more orders are being filled. Eventually, all of the orders are going to be filled. And there you go. It's not going to be, there we go. It's not going to be balanced anymore, right? So that will causes it to make a move up, and it breaks these zones, right? So normally the trading opportunity, really, if we being honest, it really comes from that second touch, because that third touch is a little rough, right? That second touch is normally where you don't want to be scary and you want to take the damn trade, because that second touch is going to normally be the money, right? If you might say, oh man, I'm scared to take it, and then go ahead and make that move. But then what happened is you wait till it come back. This happens so many times, y'all. I need y'all to wake up real quick. So it comes to this zone. You don't want to take it because you got an analysis paralysis. So you don't want to take it. You see a sell off. So you like, oh man, well, when they come back to the zone, I'm going to take it again. So it get back to the zone. You seen what it did the last 2 times. So you like, all right, I'm going to put my whole mortgage on puts right here. And then it just break that zone with ease, right? That's because the orders were filled here, right? The orders were filled here. You were scared. You didn't take the trade. So now you want to take the trade here. It ain't no more orders. The buyers control that now, right? Same way we're here. So you have to understand that. So normally when you see that second rejection, that was it, right? So when we go back to what we did today, that's exactly what happened, right? That's exactly what happened today, right? We had this balance period. We had this balance period right here. Let's zoom in, right? Remember I said you just need 3 candles. That's all you need. Your zone ain't got to be all big and all that. This is a balance period, right? Put it in there. So now when price comes back to that zone, take the down trade, right? As soon as we break it down, take the down trade. What are you waiting on? Take the trade. You just missed out on this move. Now you're going to wait for it to come back to that zone. Now it could reject again, but it's not likely to, but I mean, it could, but you're going to put the whole house on the next time. You didn't miss your opportunity, right? That's why I made sure I didn't leave my desk until I seen what this zone did. If we were going to break today, we're going to break tomorrow, we're going to break sometime this week. I want to see what this zone do, because I know how it goes. It get back to that zone. It has a nice move, right? I know how that goes. So let's see. All right, so I know this class is kind of short, so I'm about to answer just a couple of questions that actually I feel like that'll help the class. So somebody said, how do you tell the difference between a balance period with a bullish rectangle and a bearish rectangle patterns? Well, I don't know if I understood that question. How do you tell the difference between a balance period? So let's just keep it simple. If I can answer your question correctly, let's just keep it simple. So the only reason why I'm telling the balance period is I'm just looking for where price kind of just stayed the same. And then we had a huge move down, right? So price kind of stayed the same. Actually, here go another one right here. If we looking. So right here, y'all see this right here? This is a balanced period, right? So I'm going to plot that. So what happened, right? Actually, let's go do it. Let's move it all the way over, right? Let's just say you moved it all the way over, guys. So look, check this out. We got a balanced period. We came back, tested this zone, sold off again, tested again, sold it off again. But then what happened was with this time, all the orders are filled now. So why did it do? It ignored that zone completely and it broke it, right? That's exactly what it did. It ignored that zone completely and broke it. Why? Because the orders are already filled. So when we're looking for a balanced period, don't complicate it. Just look for a balanced period and an imbalanced period. Make sure. Hold on. And now I'm gonna send y'all a picture of some best songs. When just did his scribble session. Yeah, I don't know what question that was. Can you do demand zone just for reference, please? Oh yeah, we already did demand zones. It's the same thing. Just looking for a balance. See, like right here go a good demand zone right here. I think we actually took this trade. So we had a balanced period right here, then just drag it along. So we had this impulsive move up, retested that zone. Look what we're doing, right? We had a balanced period. We had that move up. We retested that zone, immediately bounced, came back, sold right off into that zone, bounced again. You see what I'm saying, guys? Right? And you, as long as the zone is keep going, you keep pulling it over more and more, right? So what happened was we hit that zone again, bounce. So this zone was like, I ain't gonna lie, this zone on SPY was respected. Like it had some fake outs, it had some ugly price action. Here we go, another liquidity grab right here. We can't, obviously, guys, people gonna ask me, the next question is, Jay, how do you identify a liquidity grab? There's no way to like know when it happens. It's just to like see like, okay, you know, we broke this zone, but you know, we started reclaiming it, right? That's the only difference. So that's why when I tell people, you know, once we break zones, guys, use context. Don't be so quick to just take puts immediately. You know what I mean? Or like when we break a demand zone, don't be so quick to take puts because we have these fake outs. And if you do take puts, hey, don't be mad at yourself, right? If you take puts on a breakout, that's totally fine, guys. Cut your losses if we reclaim this zone and call it a day, because these liquidity grabs happen. When I was starting trading, this was my problem, right? I'm gonna take the breakdown, and then what happens is when they reclaim that zone, I'm not cutting. I'm going to try to hold through it, and look what happens. Instead of me cutting here as they reclaim that zone, I'm cutting all the way up here, already down 90%. And this happens a lot, right? So that's why I tell people, you know, if you did take a breakout and it starts to reverse and come back into that zone, cut it, because this happens. This happens a lot. This is very common where stuff like this happens. It will liquidity grab a zone and then send like crazy. Why? Because a lot of traders do this. A lot of traders won't sell, right? Because they're taking the breakout. They're like, man, it's going to go back down. Then what happens is that's why they're going to make it send. That they're going to make it send like crazy that time. Because you can see, look, we didn't have a liquidity grab here. So we sent, but not really. You know what I mean? Then we have a liquidity grab here, these wicks you see, and then it want to send. Why? Because it's trying to take all your money. It's trying to take everything. They don't want your 20%. They don't want your 30%. They want all of it, right? They want all of it. This move right here took all of it. Same thing here. Huge liquidity grab. The bigger the liquidity grab, the bigger the move that's coming. And that's another one of my trading strategies we're going to get into. But if I see like a nice, like where we have like a demand zone and a nice breakdown below that zone they reclaim, oh man, that's one of my favorite setups. That's one of my favorite setups, because when we have a huge fake out like this, a lot of retail traders they don't want to cut losses. So what happens is the market sends it. This is my favorite type of plays, right? These liquidity grabs. They become, don't be scared of fake outs, guys. They become nice. They become nice trading opportunities. And we'll get more into that. I just want you guys to practice supply and demand zones. If you have to, guys, take off the pre-market if you want to, just to practice making zones, and then go from there, or use TradingView, because I know TOS sometimes get a look all over the place. So make sure. After it touches twice, are you looking for something else plus the zone to confirm the zone still going? Yeah, I'm looking for some type of zones. I mean, some type of patterns to confirm that it's still going. But I'm not gonna lie, after it kind of touched twice, after that second time, I'm kind of like, skeptical about the zone after that. Because like I said, a lot of the times when it hit that third time, it don't bounce. But what some people would do is, which is I'm teaching you not to do this. They're like, well, Jay said that normally when it touches the third time and don't work. And what happens is they're gonna say, well, we're approaching the demand zone, but Jay told me it won't work. So most likely because it's the third touch. So I'm gonna just take puts right at this zone and then they see it do something like that, right? No, you want to have some type of context that is break it down from that zone. That's why I don't really like breakouts. Kind of what I like to do is like a break and retest and then break down, something like that. Or you want to see some type of bearish pattern as we're breaking out, maybe like a bear flag or something. So at this zone, create like a bear flag probably, and then break down, or some type of symmetrical triangle, a bear pennant, same way, stuff like that, that's under the zone, not in the zone, right? You don't want to take bearish patterns in a bullish zone. That's what I try to tell you all the time, But as far as taking the zone, you don't want to take the zones blindly either. You want to have some type of, candlestick pattern, some type of double bottom. A lot of the times you would get like a double bottom, or you would get like failure to go lower. We get into all of that, but you will have, the zones are stronger when you have some type of, pattern that agrees with the zone. So in a demand zone, you want bullish patterns. The problem with a lot of people is they do the opposite. They want to take bull flags in a supply zone. That's a bullish pattern in a bearish zone, right? That's why it don't work. Today is the reason why that did not work, right? Because you took a so-called bull flag, which the characteristics for a bull flag was there, but you have to realize, where was the bull flag in? It was in the supply zone. So what happened? It broke down, right? In the zone, do you shade the wicks as well? So, like we said, when it comes to the zone, just look for a balanced period, guys. It don't have to be perfect. Like, do you put the wicks in there if you want? You could put the wicks if you want to, right? There's no right, like I said, there's no right or wrong. I don't want you guys getting confused on it. There's no right or wrong, right? You just want a nice size zone. You can add the wicks or you can not add the wicks. It's totally up to you, right? But you just want to have majority of the candles in that balanced period. You want to have it in that zone. That's all, right? Don't get too complicated where it comes to the wicks and everything, guys. Don't get too complicated. Just look for where the zone is, just draw it, right? If your zone is too big, then that's probably sometimes a good thing. Now, I mean, we want to get into a habit of not making them super huge, but it happens, right? So if you're rather safe than sorry, if that makes sense. And it's gonna take patterns. I mean, it's gonna take repetition and just practicing seeing zones work. I wouldn't like, if you just learn zones today, I wouldn't go trade it tomorrow. I'll draw something if I think it's a zone, see if it works. Will you suggest using a line chart when drawing zones? Yeah, I mean, it's similar to support and resistance. If you want to use a line chart, you definitely can if you want to. It might help a little bit. As far as like, the lines might be a lot more clear as far as consolidation goes. So if you want to, you could, it's up to you. Oh, this is a good question. So can a supply zone be so similar how the support and resistance is, where a demand zone, where support can become a resistance? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Yes, but at the same time, I'm gonna just keep it 100% honest with you guys. I would not do that. I will personally just make new zones. Now, you will have times where a supply zone becomes a demand zone, but I'm gonna just tell you right now, that don't work as much as I would like it to, tell you guys that that's okay. I would rather you just make new zones, right? As soon as the zone is now, like this zone is clearly not a liquidity grab. This zone is broke, right? This zone sent way above that area. You know what I mean? So this zone is now invalidated. So I would delete this zone and I won't use it again. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't try to say it, because if you see that right there, if you would have tried to use that as support, it kind of just broke clean through it. You know what I mean? So I would rather you just make fresh zones instead of trying to, like, use them as supporting resistance. I would just say I would recommend just making new zones, if that makes sense. Um, but if you wanted an early entry, see, that's what I'm saying, guys. Like with trading, it's all about patience, right? The person with the most patience is going to win, right? My thing on trying to get an early entry on zones is, if it works, it works. But a lot of the times what happens is you will get chopped up, right? This whole move, if you would have took this earlier today on OTDE, you would have probably been stopped out a long time ago, because it was pretty much just chopping those premiums up, and then it finally broke down. So I highly recommend get into a habit of waiting for the zones to break instead of getting in early, because you will be red for a minute. Similar to my Visa trade, I had took it in the supply zone, but sometimes stocks will hold that supply zone for a while. So they won't immediately just reject, right? They will hold that zone for a while, and they can even do a liquidity grab while in that zone and stop you out. You know what I mean? So I would rather wait for the breaks. Now, there are some times where, and I'm not telling you to do it, like I said, but you are your own person. If you want to, have your trial and error, that's up to you. Like I said, though, I personally wouldn't try to trade in the zone. It's just less stress that way. But if you want to be stressed out, pulling your hair and everything, that's totally fine. Then go ahead and try it. But I'm gonna teach you the correct way. Yes, supply zone is at the top. Supply is resistance. Demand is support. We haven't even, somebody said I'm stuck on trail lines. We haven't even went over trail lines yet, so that's totally fine. Trail lines is actually next, so because that's another form of support and resistance. So look for bearish patterns in supply and bullish patterns in demand zone. Yep, that's all it is. You want to, in bearish patterns, you want to see, uh, you want to see double tops, triple tops, bear flags, what else? Any bearish pattern, bearish engulfings. You want to see stuff like that. In demand zones, you want to see, you're probably never going to see a bull flag in here, but you want to see double bottoms. You want to see bullish engulfings. You want to see hammer candles. You want to see pin bars. You want to see stuff like that, right? Those are the like, you want to make sure that when you take a trade on the zone, you want to make sure that you have a pattern to go with it, right? I find the balance periods can be seen on the smaller time frames. Yes, most of the time, yes, because when it comes to the bigger time frames, they don't like to stay in a period for that long. So that's why it's harder to see those on the bigger time frames. Like this is a rare occasion right here. This is a clear balance period on the daily time frame, but sometimes it's just not that clear. You know what I mean? So no, most of the time you're going to find them on the lower time frames, like the hourly and the 15-minute. But still don't limit yourself to just those time frames. So somebody asked, can I show an example of the patterns forming outside the zone? Let's see. So I mean, in a way, we can kind of say that today on SPY, it was a big double top on the entire zone. Hold on, I gotta go to trading view, guys. Trading view is a lot cleaner. Actually, we can go. Let's see. Trading view was a lot cleaner this morning. But overall, if we really look at it, this is like a ugly double top. on SPY, right? I hate double tops like this, but overall, we had like a little double top in the supply zone. What else? Over here before the sell off, we had another double top. Normally, that's what you're going to see is like double tops and stuff. But other than that, you know, what I normally do is, for me, I'm gonna just be honest. What I normally do, I don't really see too many patterns. Like I don't really pay attention strongly to patterns in the zones. I just know what patterns are not supposed to be in the zone. So I'm real transparent. It's going to be kind of hard seeing patterns in certain zones. So what I like to see is a lot of the times I see more often that it's normally a pattern that is not supposed to be in the zone. And that kind of gives me that confirmation, if that makes sense. That's like a little thing that I do. You probably would never hear that from somebody else, but that's kind of something that I do. Like, for example, today, like I literally seen a bull flag in a supply zone. So I knew what not to see in there, which gave me like a little edge, if I can say. Like I knew what not to see in there. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but that kind of will help me because I don't really see too many patterns, as you can say. As far as that, I just know what not to be in there. Like a lot of the times when I trade supply zones, it's normally always a bull flag every time. It's normally always a bull flag in a supply zone. So I know like, oh, that's not supposed to be there. So I know more likely a breakout is coming, a breakdown is coming. You know what I mean? But now when it comes to demand zones, a lot of the times it do be double bottoms, right? It do be double bottoms and stuff like that. But right now, I want you guys to focus on just making the zones, and then you will find the trading opportunities within. What are your ways you are continue to educate yourself to get better in the markets now that technical analysis understood enough to make profits? Like I said, not to get off topic, but I do a lot of mental stuff like decision making. Just better in my decision making. Like I read stuff about like fighter jets, like how do they deal with being under pressure? How do sports athletes, get ready for certain things? Just stuff like that. Like as far as mindset now, I don't really, you know, do charts too much anymore. Like I still watch price action to kind of see with the market constantly adapting. The market is constantly changing, so I kind of see certain things, see how certain things play out. Just try to deal. Like, look at this. Right, it's kind of pretty choppy. Just like we have these moves and then we start chopping. It's pretty hard to really make nice trades. So overall, that I'll probably be watching that to see taking the best quality trades. But that's one thing about me, guys. I will be patient, right? To me, I used to be a trader that had to trade all day, every day. But now, as I'm getting more into trading, I'm kind of patient. Like I kind of like to sit here and wait for my setup to come. And then that's why when it comes, there's no hesitation. Like I already signed, Kobe said, I already signed that contract with myself, right? That once that is triggered, I'm taking the trade. There's no if and buts about it, right? And that's how you have to be as a trader. Once your setup is presented, you have to take it. Like you already said that you were going to take it, so do it. There's no waiting, there's no thinking about it like, hey, what if this happened? No, you already said you're going to do it, so do it, right? I told myself I'm going to take puts as soon as we break the zone. So when it happened, I took it. If it's a loss, it's a loss. We haven't went over entries and exits yet. We will be going over there in a few more classes. But I don't want you guys to I don't want that's the thing about the mentorship, guys. When it comes to trading, what happens is a lot of people, they try to like hurry up and get to the next step before understanding one thing, right? Because I can guarantee you a lot of people that's asking about entries and exits, they're still, they probably still don't have the best support and resistance. They probably still don't have the best supply and demand zones. They probably still don't have, the best risk management, right? So they are focused on anything else but what they need to work on. Not saying that this person, I'm just saying in general, like we're going to get to that. But I want you guys have to understand this first, right? If you don't understand zones, if you don't understand support and resistance, if you don't understand trend lines, your entry not going to matter. Because you're not going to know why you're entering. Do zones need to be at key levels to become more valid? Most likely. most likely zones are going to be more towards those key levels, around those key levels. Yes. So it's still like support and resistance. You still want zones at key levels, right? Most likely your zone is going to be at a support or a resistance level. It's just going to be like, have y'all ever had, like, for example, if you didn't have a zone, you know, this is a support level. I mean, this is a resistance level, but we had these fake outs here. You know what I mean? We had this, we had this, we had a lot of just, areas of just all of this. So drawing that zone allows you to have that extra room, right? Instead of you just going straight to being calls, like, oh, we broke resistance, so I'm about calls. Zones keep you from getting faked out in that situations, right? Oh, why I smoke? I said smoke. Why did I swing XPX puts again? Well, the reason why I swung XPX puts is because, to me, that I feel that we still have more downside, right? When we look at it, I feel like we have more downside. We did close below the 21 EMA, and also, let me look here. When we look at the VIX, right, we still have more upside. And actually, if we being honest, guys, the VIX looks like to me, the VIX looks like a falling wedge into this demand zone, or into this right here. So to me, the VIX looks like a falling wedge, right? That's what it looked like to me. So I'm expecting a move like this or something soon. Don't know when. This probably couldn't even happen or whatever. But to me, this is like a falling wedge, and we're at support. We're at a demand zone. So I'm looking to see us make a move to the upside. Now we can break down and keep continuing down, but overall, this looks like a falling wedge to me. So I swung puts. Now I could be totally wrong tomorrow, but this is why I swung puts. Also, crypto is kind of pushing, so swinging puts was a little more on the risky side because of crypto is kind of pushing. But like I said, that's why I swung puts, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. So you count a valid zone as in once the candle closes out the zone, correct? Yes, I'm pretty sure you meant invalid. Can't the bull flag be valid in a supply zone? No. No matter what, if a bull flag is in a supply zone, no matter what, it's invalid. No matter what, right? No matter what. I don't like, I understand, people like this and that. No. If you see a bull flag in a supply zone, do not take it. Don't even try to, complicate it. If you see a bullish pattern in a bearish zone, don't take it. Right? Don't even stress yourself out. Don't take it. So the VIX is what you use to determine the whole market or certain stocks. It's just to determine SPY in general. So SPY is pretty much the top 500 stocks. So if SPY is going up, then pretty much the whole market is going up. It's SPY going down. So I guess you can kind of say that's how I use it to do the whole market. But I only use the VIX is when the market is like overextended and I'm trying to catch a reversal, like today. Like that's literally what I use the VIX for. It worked perfectly. We got a class on the VIX and everything, but it literally, my strategy worked perfectly today. Today was flawless. Like today was great. This is a great day. My strategy worked exactly how it was supposed to, right? We don't get those days all the time, but when, like I said, once it happens, there should be no hesitation. I use the VIX to time reversals. That's basically what I use it for. No, you want to have puts at supply, right? You want to get into a habit of having puts at supply, cause that demand. Are we going to have a class on when to use? Yes. Yep. We're going to have a class when to use. That's part of my strategy. Well, over that, any more questions, guys? I know this class has always been a hard class to teach for me personally, just because, people kind of get confused a little bit with supply and demand zones. Just keep it simple, guys. The overall, you're just looking for balance period and imbalances, right? And then you're pretty much going to do it from there. So supply is at the bottom. No, 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 no. Supply is at the top. Supply is resistance, guys. Supply is resistance. Demand is support. So you count a valid zone break as in one candle closes out the zone. For me, as far as a break, I will say probably a couple of candles, not necessarily just one. I guess it would have to depend on the context of the market. Like, you know, let's go to the, let's see, let's go. That's a great question. So the question is, when do I know that a zone, like when do I count, let me make sure, when do I count like a valid, like the zone is now broken, right? So like, for example, for here, let's go here, right? Hold on. Okay. So for here, you see that we had a couple candles close below the zone, but I still called that zone valid. So the question is basically, how do I know that the zone is like, you know, after it closed it out, how do I know that the breakout is valid? That's the part about supply and demand. I don't know. I literally don't know. I have no clue if the zone is now invalid or if it's an actual breakout. I won't know until we keep breaking down, or we come back into this demand zone. And I know that's probably not the answer that you wanted, but that's the truth. Like there's no way for me to know, if this breakout is valid, right? This is a little different from support and resistance because I don't know, right? And that's why I don't like trading breakouts, right? That's the reason why I don't like trading breakouts, right? I'd rather just trade the actual zone itself. I don't like trading breakouts from zones is because of these liquidity grabs. So that's why, the question that you have that's saying like, it's how do I know if it's valid or invalid? That's right there. That's the reason why I don't trade the breakouts. It's because I don't know. So to make my life easier, I'd rather wait. If we're going to break down from this zone, what I like to do is, right, I'd rather have a breakdown and then a retest and then, break down again some more, rather than trying to just take the breakout. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but to me, that's just like the best for me. Other than that, I'm going to just trade the zone as it is, right? If it's in the demand zone, I'm going to be thinking calls. If it's in the supply zone, I'm going to be thinking puts. I'm not going to really try to trade the breakout or try to, trade the opposite of the zone. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to just trade the actual zone itself, right? Because I don't know. When something is in supply zone, it gets sold off, right? Puts in real life. When something is in demand, it gets bought calls. Yeah. So understand that, guys. Like when we thinking of, for example, I have a Tesla, right? So when I was ordering my Tesla, we had a supply shortage, right? It wasn't, they wasn't making enough Teslas, right? So there wasn't unavailable. So that means like, it wasn't enough there, think of it as, I just tried to make that make sense, trying to speak it in a more professional way. But basically, look, it ain't enough left, so it's going to come down. When a lot of people are buying it, the price is going up, when we're in demand zone. Look, I don't know how to make it make sense, guys. You know what I'm trying to say. Rail just said it the best way he could. I will send y'all an article and you can just read it that way. I tried to explain it the best. I hope y'all get what I'm saying, but but I'm just a trader, y'all. Look, I'm not, go to economics class, right? Go to economics class. Go get an economics class if you want to know supply and demand on that part. I can just teach you the supply and demand in the market. We in demand zone, that means buyers like this price. So when buyers buy it, that means the price go up, right? When we are in a supply zone, that means it is overpriced. It's too much. Buyers don't want to pay that much for it. So then the price come down. There you go. I hope that worked. There you go. I hope that worked. I hope I just made sense. If I'm supplying, I'm selling. The supplier is the drug dealer. Okay, if you want to use the drug, hey, wherever it helps for you guys to understand that. Wherever it helps. If you want to use drugs, that's totally fine with me. But you don't complicate it. But all right, so for homework, I want you guys to go practice supply and demand zones. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys because I know it's about to happen. I'm about to see the ugliest zones in history, right? I want you guys to focus on making good zones tonight. Like, don't find no choppy zone, none of that. Go find a nice zone, guys. Don't go find a nice one. Don't go send me that crazy stuff. And I'm going to, for this, I'm not going to lie. I'll be watching y'all homework, but for this particular homework, I'm going to actually be looking at these a lot harder. It's because I don't want to see you guys go down that path of making those huge zones, right? I don't want to see any of, I have to always show you an example because I'm going to have it, right? I still have mentees from previous classes that still do it. Guys, I don't want to see zones like this, right? Obviously, yes, this is a balanced period, but damn, don't do this. I'm going to see, and I see all of it. And y'all probably think I'm like, just saying this. No, I see this. People draw this all the time. If you have a zone this damn wide from 395 to 362, bro, that's almost a $30 zone. I mean, you ain't gonna catch at this point. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you ain't gonna trade for a minute if you got a zone this wide. I mean, that's a $30 spread. I mean, wow, like, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a $30 spread. So I just want y'all to keep that in mind when you're drawing your zones. Don't have them too big. I mean, that's $30 spread. I'm going to see it. The reason, that's why I'm bringing it up, because I know I'm going to see it. So don't do this. I'm telling you right now, don't do this. You don't want to have a spread this big, right? You want to have a few dollars, $1 or whatever, and go from there. Before we get off real quick, let me try to draw one more. This right here, this is a balanced period. Look at that, right? Balanced period. We identify from a balanced period. Price pretty much stayed this same. Price, buyers and sellers pretty much agreed on price right here, right? And then what happened, right? Buyers took control. We broke up. There we go. We came back to the zone. What do? We came back to the zone. Hold on. Here go the candle. I'm glad that I seen this. Here go a candlestick pattern. Here go a candlestick pattern in the demand zone. What is this candle right here that I'm highlighting? What is this candle? What is this candle? A hammer, right? This is a hammer candle in the demand zone. When they break out, we buying calls. There you go, right? So with time, you will get better at it. But that's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to go in, and I want you guys to make supply and demand zones. If you want to, you can color them. What I do is, you can, if you want to color them so I can see on your homework, right? You can color it green, red, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that they look presentable, guys. Act like this is class and you want to like actually give, your teacher some nice looking homework. Don't just draw sloppy stuff, right? I like stuff being clean, right? Draw clean zones. And that's pretty much it for today. I really don't have much to really, say after that. Pretty much just go in here, practice zones. And like I said, you will get better at it. I'm telling you, you will get better. So other than that, hold on, somebody says something. Show us how to draw the zones real quick. I did. I thought we were just sitting there drawing the zones. I just see a balance period. And then what I do is I just stretch it over, right? And then as you can see, we came back, bounced off of it. Then there we go. All of this is just ugly overall. And then we broke that zone down. So now I'm deleting it, right? Then you just come in, same thing, supply zones, right? Balance period. Hold on, something is tripping. Balance period, draw it over. There you go, right? So now we know when SPY gets back to this area, this is a supply zone, right? We can either sell off from there. So that's all I'm saying. Just go in, draw the zones. Don't complicate it, guys. Don't frustrate yourself out. Keep trading simple. It's been simple all along. Keep it simple, guys. Trading is not easy, but the things that we do, we can keep it simple and not complicate ourselves. Oh, my bad. My bad. That's what you were asking. Oh, it's a rectangle. So you go here to your drawing set, or you can just click, the mouse, and then you have a rectangle, and then there you go. Trading View has like an actual rectangle tool as well, and you just draw it that way. My bad. I thought you were saying like actually, like how you draw it. Yeah, it's the rectangle tool. Yep. Oh, real quick. Next question was, can a balance period be called consolidation? That's pretty much what I'm looking for. Yeah, a balance period is pretty much consolidation, right? That's the best way to find it. If you can see a consolidation period and then a impulsive move after that consolidation period, then there you go. You have your balance period. So I'm glad that you said that. Balance equals consolidation. Consolidation equals balance, right? Maybe the wording probably caught people off guard. I'm gonna put that. I'm actually about to put that in the chat right now. Balance equals. Yeah, my bad. I'm put that in the chat right now so nobody gets confused. Great question. Good question. Can you trade slash enter a supply zone play from the daily on the yep. You're going to learn that, but yep. You just come to the lower time frames while it's in that zone and you want to see a bearish pattern. Yep, exactly. So if we are in the supply zone on a daily time frame, then you will come down to the smaller time frame, and you want to just see something that's bearish and you want to see the smaller time frame coming out the zone and then take your entry. Yep, you totally can. We'll get more into that, but overall, I think these are two patterns or what confuses me. There's a balance period on each of these and it goes in the opposite way. So these patterns are invalid. Yes. So for that picture that you sent, so like I said, keep it simple. A bullish rectangle is just a bull flag and a bearish rectangle is a bear flag. Like that's all that is. You know, your bull, when we get into chart patterns, you will see it, but that's all that is. Like, don't let the rectangle part confuses you. That's just a bull flag and a bear flag. But like I said, if you see, just because you see, right, if you see it in a supply zone, then don't take it, right? Now, what you're probably saying is, right here, we had that exact thing. We had a bearish rectangle. I mean, a bullish rectangle, right? Here we go. That's the pattern that you're looking at. Now, understand right here, you would have probably just took the breakout, whatever it broke out or whatever, however you trade bull flags and bear flags, it would have been that. Why? Because this hasn't been established as a supply zone until then. That's why I said it's hard to predict a supply and demand zone because you have to identify one. You have to have a balanced period and then an impulsive move, an imbalanced move. So if you would have seen this bearish rectangle, this bullish rectangle, this bull flag, then that is something different from what we're talking about because this hasn't even became a zone yet. You get what I'm saying? Like, what probably was confusing is because you see this, right? And then you like, well, Jay just said if it's a balanced period, and like, remember, this move hasn't happened yet. Now, in the future, let's say that now that we know that this is a supply zone because we had the imbalance period, and we had the balance period and the imbalance. Now, once we get back to this zone, let's say that you see that pattern. Let's say that you see a bullish rectangle again. Then now is a time where you don't take it. That is what I'm trying to say. You are going to take it now because you established that it is now a supply zone. So that's when you don't take it. But here, if you took it and you just lost, that's totally fine because we haven't established that this was a supply zone yet, right? Because we waited for this move. Now, when we get up here, if that happens again, which it most likely will, right? We'll probably have that same exact move up here. Then is the time where you don't take it because it's in a supply zone, right? Now, if it were to break out, we will probably do something like this. Then we will break out, then we will retest it, right? And that's when you enter the trade and ride it up, right? That keeps you from getting the liquidity grab if it is. You know what I'm saying? So don't confuse. I hope that made sense, right? But don't confuse yourself. If that would have broke to the upside, would it also be considered a demand zone or just a bull flag? This has just been a bull flag. This has just been a bull flag, right? It's supply. Is supply and demand zone the same as order blocks? No, I'm not going to, no. Right, the zone is now invalid. So most likely, once they make that impulsive move after that balance period, what is this now going to become? Right? We won't count it, but I'm saying, what is this area now going to become? Right? What is this now going to become? It becomes demand, right? Because why? The characteristics. We had a balance period, imbalance, retest it, and then it becomes, that's why it works, right? But I hope y'all learned something today. This class will be uploaded in like 30 minutes. But don't get confused, y'all. Like supply and demand always confuses people. Don't get confused. Keep it simple. Balance period. Put this in your brains. Balance period, imbalance. Balance period, imbalance. Balance period, imbalance. Right? That's all that we're focusing on. Balance period, imbalance. Right? If you put that in your mind, you will be fine, right? Balance period, imbalance. Balance, like I want you to repeat that stuff to yourself tonight. Balance, imbalance, balance, imbalance, balance, imbalance. And then in the beginning, you want to take clean zones. And then after time, when you get better at supply and demand zones, then you can take the little ugly ones that aren't as clear in the beginning, right? But start off with the simple ones. Yep, it becomes demand because it consolidated again and it made an imbalance move out of that consolidation. And that's why the break and retest strategy works, because it consolidated, broke out, created a demand zone, it retested that zone as now in demand, and then it breaks above, right? That it I hope market structure is starting to come together. I hope just off of that, that's starting to teach you how market structure works, right? I hope that's starting to make sense. That's why it works, right? But all right, guys, I keep on saying all right, but I'm gonna let y'all go because I really need y'all to practice these zones. And we will have a recap on zones tomorrow, just to kind of see how your night goes or your tomorrow goes. But yeah, I want you guys to practice this. Please take it serious because supply and demand zones has helped me a lot in this type of market because we've been like the volatility been so high. It's been hard to like pinpoint exact levels that we're going to reject that. So we've been seeing demand zones a lot more often. So, there you go. Do you take trades between the zones? Yeah, if it's at a support or resistance level, because not every level is going to be a zone. So yeah, if it's at a support or resistance level, then yeah. But if it's not at either one, then hell no, I'm not taking a trade because there's no context, right? You only want to take trades at levels, right? You don't want to never take trades in midair. And that was my problem. I always used to take trades in midair every single time. Every single time. I always take trades in midair. Yep. But okay, I want to see our homework. I'm actually excited to see our homework, right? So, all right, that's how I took the trade today. If you don't know, today was my very first biggest day ever in trading. Like my biggest day was today. And this is literally what I use, supply and demand. Did I know that it was gonna play out like it did? No, I didn't know that. I had no clue. But like I said, I was prepared, right? That's the only thing that I did different today, guys. I was prepared. So when that opportunity came, I just took the trade and it just happened to pay me, right? I got paid for my work. I literally got paid for my work, right? And that's what led to the 1,000% return, right? Not every trade going to go 1,000%, but when your opportunity is there, take your opportunity. Now, there we go. Like I literally was just telling my friends how I went to buy this car after my last big profit last week. And then here we come Monday. And I actually had sent the chat. I had sent the chat. I was like, yeah, I'm buying my car that I want on Friday, right? And then whole time when I sent that, I ended up making the car money again. Like I had made the car money twice today, right? So that should just go to put in context that trading really can change your life. My account originally started at $3,000. I got it to $112,000. The account now is at $263,000. If you go on my Instagram, I literally just posted that account. I literally just posted that account at $112,000. That account now is at $263,000. And actually, you know, this is why I feel like certain things happen for a reason, because I was actually withdrawing that money. But what happened was, once I posted that screenshot, I guess people on Instagram were trying to log into my TD Ameritrade account. So what happened was TD Ameritrade ended up disabling my account this morning when I was trying to withdraw the profits. So then once they put my account back up, I had all that money in my account and I just seen a trading opportunity. So I just said, I'm gonna just take this trade and I'll take the money out later. So I think it happened for a reason, because I wasn't supposed to have that much money in my account anyway. But to fast forward, there we go, $263,000. The account originally started at $3,000. So that just goes to show you, when you believe in the system that you have, there you go. But yeah, they was trying to log into my account and trying to guess my password or whatever. So when so many people do that, you know, it messes up my account. I started that account, a month ago, not even long. That my accounts, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, my accounts don't last. They don't last long. Like they gap up pretty quick, or they just get blown pretty quick. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. They be the $3,000 accounts work, like 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, but them down $1,000 accounts, I don't know what it is. I just always blow those. Like I don't know. I think it's because I don't really like. I be trying to like size a little differently on them. Yeah, I don't know. I always blow $1,000 accounts, but 5,000, 10,000, I can do that. But yep. Gotta try that 1K. I just tried a 1K. I blew it again. I don't know what it is about the 1Ks. I can't do it. Like my 1Ks always start off the same. My 1Ks always gap up the first day I started. And then every single time, my 1Ks always gap up the very first day I started. And then for some reason, right after that, shit hit the fan and it just goes. But I think about it, y'all. I don't $1,000 accounts be stressing me out. Just the trades. Yeah, I started the $5,000 account challenge today. I haven't took any trades on it yet. I will let you guys know. I haven't took any trades on it yet. But if you're in a mentorship, I kind of don't want you to follow the $5,000 account challenge, because at the end of the mentorship, that's why I was trying to get the last everything in. At the end of the mentorship, I will be running an account challenge with you guys. That way you will already know like how I trade. So then everything will click. Like it will make more sense instead of you just following me, right? Because you will start learning, you know, you will understand like, okay, he's taking that trade because it is. He sees that. So you will start seeing things from my eyes. And I think that's what helps, because when a lot of people do account challenges, it never work. And the reason why is because they don't understand why you taking certain trades, right? I've did 3 account challenges. No, 4. One of them didn't go pretty well. 2 of them, actually, no, I did 5 account challenges. 2 of them didn't go well, and 3 of them went great, right? But every time we get to the end of the account challenge, normally it's only me and maybe like one other person that actually grew the account. Everybody else's accounts is just like non-existent. And I think the reason why is everybody don't understand the risk tolerance and just the mindset and the thought process on certain trades, so they don't take it. Like one of our last account challenges, we took it from $1,000 to what was it? $1,000 to $33,000 if you were in Blueprint. We went from the very, very last one, like the last one that we actually grew, it went from like $1,000 to like $33,000. And the crazy part was the trade that changed the whole account challenge. A lot of people didn't take it because it was so risky. We had put so basically, let me stop the recording real quick so we don't have this video too long.